As the four of them got out of the car and hurried toward the band shell, Mrs. Perfecto and the two girls peppered Augie with enough questions so that by the time they reached the stage, they were all aware of what Donica was planning to do with the piece of cheese in her hand. "She's stealing your talent, Augie," someone said softly. But it wasn't Mrs. Perfecto or Dawn or Hannah who said it. It was Amy Schneider. "Where did you come from?" Augie asked, surprised. "I had a feeling Donica was up to no good," Amy told him. "So when I saw her ride by my house on her bike a little while ago, I followed her here. I just hope we're not too late." "Too late for what?" Augie asked. "To stop her." "Next!" cried a small bald man with a large megaphone. "Hey, that's the flyer guy," said Augie, pointing to the man. Donica walked out onto the stage and stood in front of all the judges who were sitting in a row of metal folding chairs behind a long table. "State your name and your hidden talent for the judges, please," the man with the megaphone said. Donica flashed the judges her biggest, brightest smile. "My name is Donica Perfecto, and my hidden talent is charving." "Excuse me? Did you say carving?" asked one of the judges, leaning forward. "No," said Donica. "Charving. It's a combination of chewing and carving." "Quirky," said the judge, nodding approvingly. Donica flashed another smile. "Aren't you going to stop her?" asked Amy, giving Augie a little nudge toward the stage. "Why would I do that?" "Because she stole your talent," said Amy. "No, she didn't," said Augie. "I taught her how to charve." "But she tricked you," Hannah chimed in. "And she lied to us," added Dawn. "Doesn't she look lovely?" sighed Mrs. Perfecto, who seemed to have completely forgotten that only minutes ago she'd been worried sick about her daughter's whereabouts. "Quiet, please," the man shouted at the crowd through his megaphone. Then he turned back to Donica and said, "You're on, kid." Donica flashed that smile again. Then she lifted the cheese to her lips dramatically. "Wisconsin," she announced. But before she'd even taken a bite, she stopped. "Something's not right," she said, looking at the cheese. "There's something wrong with this piece. It's sticky." "Too warm," Augie told Amy. "She shouldn't have held it in her hand for so long before she started." "Hang on," Donica told the judges. "I'll get another piece." She ran over to the side of the stage where she'd stashed her mini cooler. Flipping it open, she quickly grabbed a fresh slice of cheese, tore off the cellophane wrapper with her teeth, and hurried back to her spot. "Wisconsin," she announced again, but this time, when she bit into the cheese, it cracked in half. "Too cold," said Augie. "What's happening?" said Mrs. Perfecto nervously. "Justice," whispered Dawn. "Yeah," agreed Hannah with a satisfied smile. The man with the megaphone was growing impatient. "Sorry, kid," he said. "Your time's up. We've got a schedule to keep here." "Who's next?" Amy was relieved that Donica wasn't going to get away with her little plan. But when she turned to Augie to tell him so, she found he wasn't standing next to her anymore. Looking up, she was surprised to see him running out onto the stage. "Hey, Donica," Augie shouted as he sprinted across the stage, pulling Turk along behind him on his leash. "I finally remembered what I forgot to tell you before. The cheese has to be the right temperature." He pulled a slice of cheese out of his back pocket and waved it in the air. "Like this one." "Gimme that," screamed Donica, reaching for the cheese with a desperate look in her eyes. But as Augie ran past the judges' table, Turk caught a whiff of the crusts of a roast beef sandwich one of them had left lying on the paper plate after lunch, and he took a sudden, unexpected detour. Augie tripped over the leash, and his feet came out from under him, causing him to fall just as he reached Donica. "Oomph! Youch!" The two collided, bumping heads so hard they both saw stars and landed in a tangle of arms and legs on the stage. Donica's processed American ticket to Hollywood flew out of Augie's hand, sailing high up into the air. It looked like the audition was over, but then, to everyone's amazement, Donica managed to untangle herself in time to leap up and catch the cheese a split second before it hit the floor. "Wait!" she shouted, rushing back to face the judges. The man with the megaphone took pity on her. "One last chance, kid." "Wisconsin," said Donica, holding up the cheese. Dawn looked at Hannah. "Is it my imagination, or did she just say Wisconsin?"